Chapter 267. The vast Great Serene Forest was not confined to mere plains and trees, despite stretching so wide as to blur the boundaries of several nations. Within its expansive bounds lay not only mountains and rivers, but unexpected marshes and rocklands as well. Until recently, those who traded by land, the merchants, mercenaries, and adventurers alike, traversed these paths. Among them were the cavalry members who, following the faint trails of these former travelers, decided to spend the night in a colossal crevice in the rocks by a shallow stream, providing just enough shelter to rest their weary bodies. Despite the overpowering scent of the dense forest that made their heads spin and the discomfort of the resting on the cold, fireless ground, no one complained. Protected by their comrades, nestled safely at the most secure spot within their makeshift camp, Eugene dozed off. However, a sudden rustling sound pulled him from the depths of his slumber. While the rest of the troop curled up, soundly asleep in their places, one person was missing from his original spot, their commander, Kishir Lahore. Turning his head, Eugene noticed him standing a little distance away by the stream. Despite the danger lurking in the darkness of the unknown, the night sky reflected off the streaming water, shrouded in countless twinkling stars, was overwhelmingly beautiful. The man with golden locks, glowing in the soft, pale blue hue of the moonlight and starlight that descended from that sky, seemed like a natural part of this surreal scenery. Unconsciously captivated by this ethereal sight, Eugene finally noticed, slightly belated, that a small bird perched in the outstretched hand Kishir pointed towards the sky. A bird? Although it was difficult to see due to the intertwining darkness and moonlight, it was evident that the bird was not perched on his finger, but rather half lying on his palm. Through the gaps between Kishir's pale fingers, a sudden flash of red seemed to flicker. Before Eugene could even contemplate the meaning of this sight, his body reflexively moved. As Eugene quickly rose, Kishir gently covered the bird with his other hand. Long strokes from his head to tail feather calming the calm creature. A moment later, Eugene, now standing on 2 feet, noticed the bird fluttering its small wings within Kishir's grasp. He had certainly thought he saw blood, yet the bird now seemed perfectly unharmed, as if he was still dreaming. Was I mistaken about it being injured? Though Eugene had been trained to remain calm in any situation, there were several times these past days where it was impossible. Now was one of those moments. While he blankly watched Kishir and the bird, the man gently caressed the bird's head with his fingertip, turned his head. "If you're awake, shall we talk for a moment?" He spoke as if he knew all along that Eugene was awake. His words, delivered in a whisper, barely audible, yet piercing clearly. Eugene, careful not to wake others, stepped out to join Kishir. Despite always looking down on others due to his high status, Eugene did not feel the same in the presence of this noble. It felt as though he was back to his childhood. The small bird in Kishir's hand, noticing Eugene's approach, lit up its black, bean-like eyes and cocked its head. Tied to the bird's leg was a tiny pouch, used for carrying letters. "A courier bird, then?" "The following Poletanites bought letters for you," began Kishir, but their contents were rather unusual. "I wonder what they contained. Did a deceased servant ever present you with a lost hair tie, Prince? And do you still possess it?" Kishir's question was abrupt, yet his face betrayed no hint of jest. Eugene studied his eyes for a moment, then quickly nodded his head. "Yes, there was such an instance. I still have it. But why?" "Apparently, it seems to carry a scent that someone might be tracking." The explanation was brief, but it gave Eugene enough to surmise the circumstances. He immediately lowered his head, looking at his chest area. "It seems new assassins are on their way. Assassins who track people through scent. I have a hunch about who sent them. The face of the dead servant flickered in his mind. Biting his lip, Ajay reached into his pocket and pulled out the hair tie. It was a keepsake from his mother, something he'd never parted from since he thought he'd lost it once. However, if it was indeed a cause for being tracked, he had to dispose of it naturally. With a glance at the hair tie, Ajay was able to throw it into the stream without any hesitation. He would have done so if Kishir's outstretched hand hadn't stopped him. Why do you stop me? If you discard something so precious that you have been carrying around, won't you regret it someday? But what choice do I have? As it is, even if we kill them, other assassins will keep coming. You can't keep discarding things to live. Then, what are you suggesting? In response to Ajay's question, Kishir broke into a strained smile. Nothing. Excuse me? You didn't do anything. They will never make it here anyway. What do you mean? Bemused by his response, the red pupils gazed somewhat beyond the forest. If they are following the scent, they will follow exact where you have been. Remember where we were last? Ajay blinked, taking a moment to swallow. The base where the mages stay. Many mages who had been at the briefly visited base sprung to mind. The young priest who was attempting to heal them, and one other face left behind there passed through his mind. The cavalry member with a strange aura and black hair. The first friend he had ever made in his life. Ajay was taken aback as he recalled him. Others he might not have minded, but he couldn't allow that man to suffer due to him. Isn't that an even bigger problem? They will be in danger there because of me. What can I? You need to send a message there quickly, don't you? Despite Ajay's dismay, Kishir calmly shook his head. Even if we send word now, it will be too late. Then please send someone there, anyone. Even if it's late, they can have some help. There is no need. What are you trying to say? What I'm saying is that as long as the person we left there remains, there is absolutely no need to worry. Ajay stared in surprise at Kishir. He immediately knew who was being referred to as the person they had left behind. It was the very man whom Ajay had just worriedly anxious about. Don't you worry about him? Ajay asked hesitantly. On the way, he had seen enough of Yudhir's abilities left at the base to have a rough idea of how formidable he was. However, he couldn't understand Kishir's calm face, asserting that there was no need to worry, even knowing that the assassins trailing Ajay might raid the place. Of course I'm worried. He's one of your valued subordinates, isn't he? I value him greatly. Then why would you say you will leave him and do nothing? Just by watching for a few days, Ajay knew how much Yudhir was devoted to Kishir. He'd seen the concern for his commander and comrades behind Yudhir's emotionless face, and he had felt a profound envy that such a person was not at his side. And yet, the one who received that absolute faith was planning to abandon him in a moment of danger. Seeing Ajay's skeptical expression, Kishir smiled. If I were to return there now, he wouldn't listen to me ever again. The one I left behind is someone I trust to handle things even when we have no means left from our side. What we need to do is to trust our backs to him and quickly move forward, not turn back for unnecessary reasons. Ajay was lost for words, just looking at the man before him. Trust? No. Can it be called trust or faith? That thing. He felt the same emotion now as when he had been conversing with Yudhir before. Something absolute, incomprehensible to him seemed to stretch out, connecting the two men. At first, he thought it was just deep loyalty, but now, looking at Kishir's eyes, he got the feeling that maybe it wasn't just that. Anyway, since we have pursuers, we can't trust anymore. I will send the message back to the Peleta Knights. We should also move forward quickly. Are you okay physically? I am. I'm fine. Hearing Ejin's confused response, Kishir smiled quietly. I'm glad.